Breaking development coming in about the case involving 32-year-old Binil Babu, one of the two youths from Kerala who the Russian army forcibly enlisted, was killed on the Russia-Ukraine war front. The MEA has now made a big statement regarding the status of those from India who have been enlisted and have been fighting at the front in Russia and Ukraine. MEA says that as many as 16 Indians serving in the Russian army are currently missing. Their whereabouts are not known. Listen into the reaction.
It was a very unfortunate death. We conveyed condolences to the family. Our embassy is in touch with Russian authorities so that his mortal remains could come back to India as soon as possible. Regarding the other gentleman who was injured, he is receiving treatment in a hospital in Moscow. Our embassy is in touch with him and also his in regard to his welfare and well-being with the Russian authorities, and hopefully he will also be returning India soon after his treatment is completed. Because there are several other questions, so let me give you an update on the Indian nationals who were serving in the Russian army, and status insofar as their numbers, etc. is concerned, to clarify issues that Reza has raised. As far as we have been telling you that we have been in constant touch with Russian authorities for early release and repatriation of Indian nationals who are serving in the Russian army. As of today, of all the known cases that have come to us, we have had 126 cases. Of these 126 cases of people who were serving in Russian armed forces or are serving in Russian armed forces, 96 people have already returned. They have been discharged. They have been discharged from the Russian armed forces. As per our available information, 18 Indian nationals in the Russian army remain. Out of these, 16 individuals, their whereabouts are not known, and the Russian side has categorized them as missing. We remain engaged with the Russian authorities to ascertain the whereabouts of the missing Indian nationals, as also seeking early release and repatriation of those who remain. So that is the status. 12 Indian nationals have died in the conflict who were serving in the Russian army.
All right, Rishabh now joins us for more details on this. Rishabh, there is the MEA telling us about the official number of those who have been enlisted in the army. But if I'm not wrong, in Binil's case, didn't they say that he and a friend of his were misled? They thought they were hired as electricians and eventually they were sent to fight at the front lines. Do we know anything more on that front from the MEA?
Well, if we talk about all these 126 known cases, maximum of them, if not all, the family, the next kin, have always maintained that the person who is right now fighting for Russia on Ukrainian front was misled by a job agency or a career website, and they were lured into a job in Russia, and they were then forced to work with the Russian army on the forefront, and many of them even in combat duties. And this is the case that has been discussed for last 2 years now, and Russia has always maintained that Russian army do not hire from any third party of that sort, but if there has been any such case, they will look into it. This is what the Russian ambassador have said 6 months ago, that they do not subscribe to this news that people were lured to fight for Russia, as Russian army do not take people or admit people from.
Stay on with me, Rishabh, because we are now joined by former diplomat Anil Trigunyat. Sir, what exactly can India do, Ministry of External Affairs do, to probably address the demand that even the remaining soldiers from India who are there fighting in Russia and Ukraine war should be discharged by the Russia or brought back to India by the authorities?
Well, I think that our embassy there and the Ministry of External Affairs have all been engaged with the Russian authorities, who had promised, including to our Prime Minister when he raised it with President Putin, They should be discharged, they should be identified. So they had promised that they will be identifying where they are, which position and all that, and then they will do it. We also got certain information that some of them did not even want to be discharged. So one doesn't know exactly what more can you do. I mean, the Indian government is pushing and has been chasing virtually our embassy on a regular basis, taking it up officially here as well as in Moscow. And that is the diplomatic thing. At the same time, we will have to see how the people who are going to Russia, that they are not, diverted to these kind of dangerous professions in foreign countries. But sometimes what happens is that some people just go knowing too well because of the salaries, because of perks. They don't realize what are they getting into it, and eventually then later on becomes a problem. They go for something else and then they'll end up somewhere else. So this is a big problem in this particular case. But rest assured that the Indian government has been doing everything that is possible to try and get them back, whoever are available.
All right. Thank you, sir, for joining us with those insights. As Mr. Trigunyat said, India has been raising this issue on every platform, including Prime Minister himself when he met Russian President the last time around. He had also raised this matter. Then Vikram Misri has been saying that they have managed to get many of the Indians discharged and they have come back to India. But to the other point raised there by the former diplomat Rishabh, what can be done domestically to avoid youth being lured to the front lines? Some say they are misled, but like sir pointed out, there is a lure of good paycheck.
Well, definitely, the unemployment issue is an issue that needs to be addressed, is what experts have been talking about. And the agencies here, the central agencies here, be it CBI or the local CIDs of state police, they have launched multiple campaigns and raids as well in Maharashtra, in Karnataka, in Kerala for that matter, in Andhra and Telangana as well. A few of them in Punjab as well, when such cases came out, and many such fake job centers were also raided and they were busted time and again. And now they have been very clear instructions on the embassy websites as well that do not come to a certain country if you do not have. And this is not only Russia. Here in Russia, we are seeing that Indian nationals have been lured and then forced to fight for Russia in countries like Thailand, in countries like Myanmar, in countries like, a bit of them in Laos, many of them in Vietnam as well. You'll find people being taken from here on the pretext of an IT job, and then they are put into scam centers as well. And there have been over 1,000 repatriations from the Southeast Asia side as well. The government has been very clear. They have also issued a website that is for the people to migrate for blue-collar jobs in various countries, be it in Gulf,
all steps
Russia,
being taken domestically and on international level to ensure the safety and security of Indian citizens. Thank you, Rishabh, for joining me.